Welcome to the Aussie Sidecar Stories podcast. In this episode of Aussie Sidecar Stories, we catch up with Donna Probin, who started racing dirt track sidecars in Sydney in the late 80s after watching her dad race for a few years. Unfortunately, they never got to race together, with Donna's dad giving it up before she got started, but she's kept the family legacy alive, raced for a few years in Sydney and New South Wales before moving up to Queensland, where she has ended up buying back the outfit that she was racing on back in the day, and is a fantastic, passionate advocate for dirt track racing and historic racing in Queensland.
Whether it's road, dirt or cross country, there's no better feeling at a racetrack than the sight, the sound and the excitement of a sidecars race. The Aussie Sidecar Stories podcast is here to share the stories of the people who live and breathe this wild sport. From the riders and passengers to committee members and volunteers, it takes a village to keep sidecar racing alive, and we want to welcome you in by sharing their stories.
Welcome to Aussie Sidecar Stories, Donna. Thank you so much for jumping on and having a chat.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I'm looking forward to chatting with you. You've already sent me through a whole stack of photos, and I'm very curious to know a lot about them because some of the photos are not particularly new. So how did you first get started in sidecar racing?
Oh, yeah, well, I was born into it, really. It came about with my father, who joined racing or started racing in about 68, I think it was.
Right.
So a long time ago, he ended up becoming a passenger. He was heavily involved with the Blacktown Motorcycle Club that was around, I think that started around 63, 64 from memory.
Yeah.
It did finish in 92, I think. Dad was heavily involved with people like Stan Bayliss and Sydney Speedway, obviously, but mostly dirt track. Tommy Gonzalez, there was, way back guys.
All of the legends of the day, so many of those names.
Yeah, correct. And he went, to a few meetings, met some of the guys, and then from there, he got introduced and was asked if he wanted to have a swing, and he did. And that was it, got the bug. And anyway, so from there, he mostly rode with a gentleman called Barry Mitchell, who was a lifetime member of Blacktown Motorcycle Club. Barry and Dad did quite a few years together. And they also were heavily involved with the movie that was produced called Sidecar Riders, I think it's called. It's a dirt track movie.
I've got to look that up because I've been doing a lot in the last couple of weeks preparing for the Bayliss Memorial Cup that Annandale Leichhardt are supporting the family to put on at the Festival of Speed because, of course, as we say, legends of sidecar racing, Stan, Barney and Grizz.
Absolutely.
And I was getting told I was having a chat with someone the other day about a movie in the 70s.
Yes.
That's the Sidecar Racer. And I'm like, I have to look that up and try and find it somewhere because there was scenes shot around Bathurst and stuff like that, and a sidecar got written off in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, they did parts of Sydney Showground. They did Amaroo Park, which is the dirt track part of it, and then they did Bathurst. And it was quite funny because Amaroo dirt sidecars majorly go left. We are designed to go right, but only brief, if that makes sense, not continuously. Where Speedway sidecars go continuously right. We're more designed because it's a flat track. We can go both ways, but we don't sit on a right-hander for ages. If you get what I'm saying.
Normally you do the little kidney
we do
shape.
Kinks,
like there's a little...
correct. Sometimes they put it a bit tighter for us, so we've got to really sort of throw ourselves around a bit, but mostly predominantly left. So it was quite funny because that movie at Amaroo Park with the dirt track scene, which my father was him and Barry were heavily involved in on 61, they actually made them go the other way. So, yes, they were still going left, but they had to do the circuit the other way because it was better for production and better to capture things. So, yeah, there was a couple of thrills and spills, and God bless my mother, who are both alive. I'm very blessed to have them both in my corner still. I believe at Bathurst, my brother was having a bit of a tantrum, and the crew said, "Shut that kid up the back." And, I think Mum got paid $50 to be in the crowd with us or something like that, which was a bit of money back in those days. So,
yeah.
Look, so that's where it all progressively started. And then my father built, I should say, with a guy called Graham Fields, which known to everybody knows as Porky. He was big. He used to weld the Bel Air or Bell Bird or something, leathers at the Speedway. He got onto him and they became good mates. Dad built a sidecar, which was a TR water-cooled 500 Suzuki. Quick little bike. It was a little black and white thing. And probably his biggest regret that he doesn't have anymore. Yeah. Look, from there, that was predominantly my starts of my full memory of the sport, which we were all positioned or lived in Sydney. So our home track was Nepean. And, look, the birthdays, the anniversaries, the everything was always at the track. So we had many, many years there. And
look, you often wouldn't have it any other way. Like, growing up as a pit kid, like it was really something else. Like, that was me in the 90s. And I'm sure it's so much fun. You have so many fond memories from those times.
Absolutely. I mean, even us kids, and there used to be a family called the Andersons. There was Leon and Jeffrey and Mum Gail and Dad and all that, and they were they lived at the track, at the front of the track, and we made a figure 8 track near the front of the track, us kids. So, our BMXs and everything, we were all, doing that sort of stuff, except for when the sidecars were on. Then we race over to the track, watch the sidecars and then come back. And, it's good memories, like a lot of fun, and there's a picture I sent you. I think I'm sitting as a kid. I've circled it. And, family, friends, Blacktown, we're all sitting around. Yeah, so very, a lot of years there and a lot of time and a lot of memory. So, as I started to grow older into my teens, I was like seeing people like watching, people like Grant Bond and Candy Bond, Lynn Judd with Peter Schumacher, Lisa White with Bob Northey, or Steve Constable. Lisa swung with both for a while. Young girl, I was just like, okay, this is doable.
When's it my turn?
That's right. It's not just my dad's thing. This is something that I think I could definitely have a crack. So my brother's a couple of years older than me. He had a go, and we could hear him screaming down the back straight of Nepean, "Get me off, get me off." So I was 2 years behind. So yeah, I think I had to turn 17, which was 87. And that was it. As soon as I could, I was straight on to getting my MA license. And I was very fortunate then to have Lisa White, who was a passenger. Unfortunately, she had a few bad accidents, so I had to give up being a passenger. Anyway, she got her hands on the now known My Sidecar. She owned that, and from there, she said, "All right, you want to have a go?" And we've been friends for, I think I was 11 and she was about 20 or something like that. She was older than me, 20, 21 she could have been, and I was only 11. I was only a kid when I first met her. So I was like, as soon as I was 17, I didn't tell Mum and Dad, and we turned up at our very first meeting was at West Wyalong. And I think we raced that year against the Lord Mayor of Condolbin or somewhere, Desi O'Shea, or what I think his name was. So it was we just had a ball. It was just fantastic, and I was like, first go, that was it. I just had the bug, and it just grew from there, really. But
I love so many stories that you hear of that, where it's like you've waited so long, and it's just a given. Once you get out there, it's full hell for leather. Did your brother end up ever having another go after his first introduction?
No,
left that to you.
He left that to me. I will tell you something very funny. We had a Christmas near when I was 17 or whatever. 17. I think it could have been that year. Anyway, my brother's a bit of a rock star, and he's done quite well, with all his music. So anyway, we're talking late 80s, so it was all big hair, and back in those days with the
love it
with the 80s and the music, and he was into pretty sort of rock sort of music, heavy sort of ish. And anyway, we got our Christmas presents that year. And I've started racing, and Mum and Dad know. So anyway, I've unwrapped my present. It's a big esky ready for me beer for the racetrack. And my brother opens up his, and it's a big hairdryer for his hair. And my dad went, something's gone wrong here. So we always have a bit of a chuckle about me getting the esky and my brother getting the hairdryer. But look, it was just the path that we're meant to be. And I was, very Dad ended up acquiring another bike, and it was a gorgeous bike. It's that green and yellow one that I sent you a picture of on the trailer, number 14. Anyway, he from there he it was a bit of a unfortunately, and that's when he sort of Mum and Dad discussed, and he'd been doing it for such a long time. So it was 86 he finished. And that was after being a passenger for so long and then riding for so long. And it's just unfortunate because he finished in 86 and I started in 87. So Dad and I never got that chance to ride together. Would have loved to. The best I ever got was he rode my Pinky a couple of years ago at the I organised a memorial for Peter Schumacher, who was something like a 9-time champion and all that sort of stuff. He was quite and very, very good at Nepean, and he's the one who built Pinky. So he's now no longer with us. So we put on a memorial thing, got some nice shirts made, and his family came out and all that sort of stuff. And I got Dad to ride it and me sitting behind it. So, that was a bit of a nice memory for us. So, so after Lisa, after I started with Lisa, we did about 4 or 5 years together, roughly. And then, I fell in love and things went different, and, I went a different direction, and
life happens.
So Lisa was ready to give it away. And I went a different direction, hence why I sent you a picture of the football days. I started in the mid-90s playing women's rugby league, and I played for Parramatta women's for 5 years, and I represented Illawarra, and I represented Australia 13 Prime Ministers against Great Britain in 96. So I had quite a stint of football, and then I had a few accidents, unfortunately, with work and things like that. And I was had a head injury plus a knee injury, and from there, unfortunately, I put on a lot of weight from the medication to help me. Anyway, and then I just sort of slipped away from all sports for a while, and And then it wasn't until a few years ago now, it's probably 10.
Probably
10.
Time is just an illusion, and time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it was about that. Anyway, from the days of Blacktown, I used to race against a gentleman, brothers called Laurie and Ken Askew, and Laurie's son, Joel. He was, kicking around as a little kid when I was sort of, sort of started as an 18, 19-year-old. Anyway, and we just sort of come together and connected, and he said to me, he moved up here from Sydney to Queensland, and was looking at giving it a go, and back on the sidecar, I should say. He raced for many years with his dad, and then he rode, and asked me to swing. So I went out on a practice day, a race meeting. I had a couple of races with Darren Feen, which that was a bit of a buzz. That was my first time back. And then I got on with Joel, and then Joel and I, which is the number 21 I've sent you. And Joel and I raced for 5 years up here. And
what was it like getting back out there? Like, as you mentioned, you took to it like a duck to water back when you were a teenager. Like, you'd grown up around it. It was meant to be. And after that couple of years, then a bunch of years doing something else and then doing nothing. What was it like when you were trying to find your feet? Like, did you just sort of slot straight back in and it was like you'd never left?
Yeah, it was, absolutely. I mean, like, swinging, you just don't lose. I don't think you lose it. You know what I mean? Like, all bikes are differently set up, but it's still the same concept. And what I mean by that is, you'll see some passengers get right down, and depends on how, the makeup of basically of the bike is, width of tyres and front tyres are smaller and all sorts of things can come into it. But, it's pretty much, just using your weight, your top half of your body to get in your pelvis area to get it, to keep it, down, and it all just came back. It just, it was amazing. It's just, a bit of cardio. I had to start doing again, but I had to suck in the but yeah, look, it was so good. It was just like I never left, but sort of a little bit sad that I had that gap.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I still think things are meant to be, how they'll
absolutely.
be. So, and basically what happened when I was with Joel was I was in touch with my original rider, Lisa, and we found out she wasn't well. So anyway, I got in touch with her, I should say, and I've been nagging her for years and years to get my hands on that sidecar, because it was my original. She still
had it.
Yeah, she still had it.
Awesome.
So so she still had it, and I said, what sort of condition it is? And she said, it's 25, 30 years sort of in the backyard. I was like, oh, no, Anyway, it is what it is. So I'm like, if we don't salvage it now, it'll just fall apart.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was very, very lucky. I nagged her enough. And she finally gave in about, probably 5-6 years ago, and said, righto, you can come and get it. So I did, got it back up here, and lovely Joel Askew is a fabricator and very, very, very handy with making stuff and doing stuff. And out of, yes, my father, of course, my family, Peter Schumacher's family, Bob Northey's family, which they owned it. And as I said, Peter made it. You've got Wayne Northey. I think you've spoken to Tom.
Yes, I had Tom on the podcast early on.
So all that family, we're all connected. We're all like, family.
It's a small world.
50 odd years. Yep. So a long time. So basically, I was able to say to Joel, I want to keep this how it was. I want to, whatever we got to do to fix it. And he was 110% with me. We cannot put a new exhaust on it. We can't do, if it has to have new exhaust, we're going to put it the same way it was across the front, everything. So basically, the sidecar frame underneath was absolutely rotten. And excuse me, I'll show you. I have kept a piece from it. Just in case you have a podcast one day. So that's how bad it was underneath the tray. Yeah, so it was pretty deteriorated because it had been sitting in such long grass and wet and dry and wet and dry. So Joel fabricated it from the template on top and put a whole new system in. He did the whole sidecar part. We checked everything. Luckily, that hadn't been sitting, so that hadn't rusted. We fixed everything that we needed to fix, stripped it down to absolutely nothing on it, and built it back up, and then put the original. So everything on top, except now the new tank. Unfortunately, the old tank of 40 years, the metal I tried everything to try and save it, but it the last sort of, unfortunately, David and I were at a meeting and it just started seeping from the top. So, we had to get
we need the fuel to stay in the tank, preferably.
Correct. So, so everything, I got it reupholstered, but everything's original. The side panels, the handlebars, the forks, everything. We did everything to it, spent 3 years on it, and got it back to racing condition.
I absolutely love hearing stories like that. Like I'm historic road race, and there's nothing more satisfying than when you walk along and you get to see the machines that have been given the love and care that they deserve, and they still look immaculate, like they could have back in the and should have back in the 80s, 70s, 60s. Like
absolutely.
It's something like, not to say that the new modern ones don't look great, but some of the machines from, the bygone years are just, they're so unique and so great to look at. And I love that you guys spent so much time and effort to make it what it used to be.
And the funny thing is, it's history. It's where it's from. And like, if my 7980 Z500 Kawasaki can, it gives me happiness because, I have that, years back, but I'm also got these years forward. You know what I mean? Like I'm enjoying my time, doing what I'm doing now, which is riding it, after, so many years of being a passenger. Poor old Joel, I had to tap him on the shoulder. I think it was a Brisbane Cup, and I think we just finished doing 10 laps because I used to do 10 laps on the last 10 laps on a sidecar, which is a lot. And I came off that, and we'd had 5 good years, and I said to him, mate, I think I'm done, like the old knees and and he said, no, you're not done. Now you're gonna start riding yours. And I said, well, yes. So, which was easy.
Did you guys swap?
Knees.
Did you guys swap over? Oh,
no,
that would have been beautiful.
Yes. No, there's a picture actually that I love. There's me on 52, which is Pinky, and Joel's next to me on 21 with his passenger Tyson. And so we, and he came back and he said, you took off all right there. And he's a big ZX 10,000 Kawasaki. So, it has a little bit of a jump, the old Pinky, and it's always surprised a few people that they've gotten on it. And, just an amazing array of, things that I've been able to accomplish. I went down and helped Andy Bridge at Corindi a few years ago on 67.
Yep.
Him and his passenger, Robbie Weston, they had a big accident. Andy got a lot better than Robbie, was a lot slower getting back on it. But he was pretty busted up. So they had a massive accident at Tamworth. So, I just, Joel and I were happy to do sort of up here at North Brisbane. So when I could, I gave a hand to here and there to a couple of the guys. But yeah, so it was pretty much, I just knew the knees were going, and it's pretty hard on the knees as a passenger. So I was like, you know what, it's time to ride this. So
what was that transition like? Or how was it feeling?
Well, it's funny because Joel, my bro, I call him my bro. He's not the smallest, I suppose. He's a strong, fit dude. And anyway, he said to me, we took it out to North Brisbane, and he's like, "You're right." And I said, "Well, no, you have a go first to make sure nothing's going to fall apart, or you're the rider." And he goes, "No, well, you're about to be the rider." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll just go on the side." And I didn't even think about it. And I just went on the side of Pinky. And anyway, and and then we did a couple laps, and then I realised my knees were hurting. And so we came in, and he said, "It's fine." He said, "It's good to go." And I said, "Okay." And I said, "Well, you better get in the side." Well, he said, "Oh, I'm going to be like a big sandbag." And I said, "Well, you don't have to move, just, So anyway, we got out there, and look, the encouragement, the words of wisdom, that all those things that he gave me, I will be forever in Joel Askew's debt. He's always supported me, always been on my side, and he just gets it. He gets the past of why it's so important to preserve bikes like this, and for the future, to show, hopefully, you know what I mean? So, so we went from there. Then I had, I was a bit heavily involved at the time with Speedway Sidecars. I was actually, at the time, this is quite a few years ago now, about five or so years ago, I was engaged to a guy called Jeff Godfrey, and he was doing Speedway Sidecars. And look, from that period of time, I was meeting people, and I met through him a girl called, we call her Hopper, Hopper Mortimer, and Hopper was keen, hadn't been on, only been on a dirt track a couple of times here and there, but most predominantly Speedway. So I just sort of said to her, "What are you doing?" Because I would have liked a female combination team. Yep. And anyway, she's like, "Yep, cool, I'm in." So
count me in.
We did the first year, and then look, things sort of changed in that we wanted different things in our spectrum in life and whatever. So I was then introduced from Adam and Adriana Thompson from Team Thompson, and they do everything. Bloody dirt track, speedway, juniors. They Adam trains the kids. He does everything. He does endorsements and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, I got onto them, and he said, "I had a passenger years ago, and I don't know what he's doing, but here's his number if you want to give him a call." And his name was David Martin. So I called David, and I said, "Look, mate, it's a post-classic. It's not, years ago we used to have a 500 class. We used to have a 1,000 class. Unfortunately, that's not around anymore, so we have to combine. I'll give it my best, and we'll have a lot of fun, but, we'll see how we go with what we can take home type thing, So I got some sponsors on board just to help me out. Mostly, it's not so much monetary. It is in the sense from them, but things like oils and things that I've got along the way.
Oil, tires, fuel, bits and pieces like that just make it a little bit easier to be able to get out there.
Correct. And then I've had some wonderful guys that know their stuff, like Wayne Ware, who, he owns a twin Trumpy Speedway Sidecar historical thing. Another guy called Guy Westerman. All those guys contributed to helping me mechanically, because when you're a passenger, as David would know, you just turn up with your bag and your helmet. Well, not even your helmet, because I bring his, but you turn up with your bag and, right, let's go. You know what I mean? Where when you're a rider, that's the whole different package. Like I've got to make sure that everything's there, got to make sure that the bike's right, that I've cleaned carbies, that I've done this, I've charged the battery, I've done, so there's a whole array to make sure what turns up we've got and we're right. So those guys helped me immensely about the motor, about doing my own maintenance, about, like I said, pulling carbies off if something's blocked and putting them back together and learning all those things, So I
can imagine that kind of thing happens a bit because dirt track gets dirty. So there'd be rocks and there'd be all sorts of stuff going on there.
Correct. And unfortunately, David and I had a really bad period last year when we were trying to save this original tank, and it just wasn't happening, to the point where every race meeting we were having to clean the carbies out. Every race, I should say. Right. Clean the carbies out, put them back together, go out in the race, and by near the end of the race, it was starting to, because there was just so much rust and crap in it. It was just failing rapidly. So there was no choice but to put a nice new tank on it, which Adam Thompson made for me. So it was. Look, it's absolutely love it, and David and I have. Obviously, he's not just my passenger. Him and I have become, I call him little bro. He's become part of my family, him and Joel and, are my brothers, they've always just been there. David, he knows what I can do. And I, when he pushes me, and he knows he's got to push me sometimes, because I can get a little bit, some meetings and he'll get off and he'll go, you're not. And I'm telling you now. And so I'm like, yeah, okay, sorry. So, but we've done pretty good. We've got quite a few ribbons, and we I've had, since I've been riding, I've had my first year I came second in the club championship. My second year I came third, and last year David and I in 2025 we came first. So
awesome.
So we've got quite a few bit of trophies and medals and ribbons and things that are very nice to have for your memories. And David and I absolutely had a ball. I also sent you a picture. David's also now doing a passenger back on classic dirt tracks, speedway, sorry. So there's a picture of him on a silver Ducati there. You'll see his pink helmet swinging down. I had to go with Jeff when I was with Jeff, and I hated it. I'm sorry, guys. I think once you've been going left all your thing, and then you got to hang down here and go right, it's just a weird feeling. And I did a few laps on the Speedway Sidecar, and I was like, yeah, no. But I might have a ride on one day, so I'd like to do that maybe. So
I was going to ask what it was that kept you on the dirt tracker rather than getting over to Speedway, because a lot of the time dirt track and Speedway sidecars can be at the same race meetings or ride days together. So I was and it's interesting that you've just brought that up, because it'd be so confusing to unravel your brain from constantly going.
I think that's what it is, like there's so many things of, as I said, it goes back to, knowing what you know, even though some of the sidecars, dirt track sidecars, are so different. Some are longer, some are shorter. Mine's a short wheelbase, so it likes to drive a lot rather than slide, where a lot of the big bikes these days, you'll see just the back end's out and it's just power on and, where, back in the day, even the thousands and that, a lot of them, it was more of a riding combined skill that you had to have together. They're a lot harder. They are a lot harder to ride. And, we go down to New South Wales in August. We always, certainly the last 3 or so years now, I've been going, since I've been riding, to the New South Wales. It's the Classic Charity and Title. For classics and post-classics. It's on the first weekend of August. It's a 2-day meeting, and it's always a great big turn-up event, and I'm talking solos, sidecars, the whole lot. And that will be on again this year, which we're going.
Whereabouts is that?
Nepean Raceway at Castlereagh. Yep. So meetings like that where, we turn up and there's pre-74 sidecars, and then there's pre-85, and then there's pre-95, and I think 2000's coming into it soon, believe it or not, but we are 26 years past 2000. So, time is going on. But, so, and I love going back to Nepean because obviously it was my home track for many, many years. And I miss... it's an unfortunate thing now because it's so heavy in dirt track down there. You've got I'm not quite sure about Coffs Harbour. I heard there was a couple of things going on there with that club, but you've got Tamworth, you've got Gunnedah, you've got Raymond Terrace, you've got Cowra and Griffith, and Griffith and Cowra around a long time ago, and they're back. All those sorts of stuff. Nepean. Canberra.
It blew my mind when I started the podcast, and I got talking to Tom Northey early on, and he sent me through a calendar, because one of the things that I'm loving trying to do is just build up and promote all of the events that are on for sidecars across Australia. And when he sent me this calendar of all of the dirt track events, and I think there was a period there where for I think 2.5 or 3 months, you could have been doing a race meeting every weekend if you had the budget to. It's
correct.
It's amazing. There's so many opportunities out there.
Yeah, correct. And and it's an unfortunate thing, that just touching on my club with North Brisbane Junior Motorcycle Club. So super sad. It was a really, as much as it was an enjoyable day, and having so many people turn up from the past and the present and all that at the Brisbane Cup in December, it was so super sad. It was just people were out on the track collecting dirt and taking photos. There were people crying, because some of these people, they were kids and they've grown up around it, So it was pretty gut wrenching to see, and
because that track got closed out because the council rezoned the land, or
and they've already sold it.
There?
Yeah, they've already sold it, and we know it was built on medical waste, and then that's how it was a racetrack. But I believe over a period of time, they can build, and look, we've heard we heard rumours that it was going to do something to do with the Olympics, because it really is only 10-15 minutes from the airport.
Of course.
And then we heard it was going to be industrial, but now we've heard it's going to be residential. So either way, the council wanted their money, and they want something built there.
And that's just absolutely heartbreaking, because it's you've mentioned Amaroo Park early on in the piece, and the fate that unfolded for Amaroo and Oran Park, but fantastic racetracks that are now just got houses on top of them, and it's just
correct. And things like Oran Park, believe it or not, like I did that. I had to go at road racing, but not only that, we took our dirt trackers out because we were invited to take our dirt trackers out down the bottom and do the figure eight over the bridge and back under.
Really?
Back at Oran Park. I mean, it was just, yeah, exactly. And that's the unfortunate thing now. You've got Ipswich's, which is a predominantly oval, but it's very small. It's sort of like a Costa meter track. Where it's not very big, and it's licensed, but it's only licensed, I believe, for so many or whatever. But sidecars, it's not even. You couldn't even do, I don't think. So, so you got that to practice on. Then you got the grass track place, but that's again a non-competitive. It's only a practice. So we are looking at Maryborough for their club days, but they only look like their calendar. They're only doing about 4. And then you've got Whitsundays. Yeah, like it's a long. It's a long way from Brisbane to Whitsundays.
Yes.
So that's
I learned last year just how big the state of Queensland is. We did a Toowoomba to Townsville drive, and I was like, I didn't actually think it would be this big.
That's right.
And I know we weren't even the full length of it. Yeah.
No, and it's actually shorter for me to go from Brisbane to Sydney than it is for me to go from here to Whitsunday. So go figure. But yes, it's a big state. So look, it's super, super sad, and we have it's been said that there's a 5-year plan now, and basically our machinery's been given out to a certain club to help them. So they'll store it, but they'll use it. And then our dongers and our canteen and bar and all that's going to another club for them to use it. If we don't get something within 5 years, then the stuff will stay with the club, those clubs.
Yeah.
It's a thing. But
it's hard. It's good that because clubs work hard to get all of that. I mean, some people may be critical of the facilities and the amenities at some places that you go to, but clubs work really freaking hard to get what they have, because motorsport is not as heavily supported as other sports.
No.
And it's really great that these other clubs are going to be able to get use out of it and get some benefit from it, and that they're not just sitting there deteriorating or just getting bulldozed.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's the smartest thing to do, and, totally agree. And, we don't know or if something's going to be. I mean, I personally can't even see like a club being any sort of financial position to start again. To start. It's you wouldn't get the reward back, the financial. It wouldn't. Or it'd take so friggin' long. To get it
there's
back.
The pure investment to buy a block of land, and then the amount of work that would go into it. It's just it's so expensive. I mean, we've thrown some jokes around Pheasants Wood Circuit at Marulan down here in New South Wales. It's up for sale, and you just kind of go, does the club happen to have, a spare $12 million sitting in the back pocket to get? But,
that's it.
It'd be great. It would be amazing to just be able to go, let's do it. But again, clubs are so self-funded and have to do work so hard to get bare minimum. And
that's right.
I really, really do hope that the club is able to work something out, and that something comes back together for it, because we don't need to be losing clubs.
Yeah, 100%. And there was so many good meetings there, and Brisbane Cup alone was always epic. I mean, when you get Max Whale and all the guys from, Flat Track America, when you get all these guys that are on their off season come come home to what they started with and race at meetings like Brisbane Cup and just amazing. And the kids walk around and get photos and autographs, and it's little things like that where if those things are not seen, that's where I'm afraid about it losing it here in Brisbane. You know what I mean? So anyway, it will be what it'll be. And David and I have now succumbed to realising we have a few trips to do this year.
Bit of driving ahead of you.
Yeah, a bit of driving to do. But look, obviously, we would dearly miss riding and having the convenience of a track to just go and have a club day every month. That's what I'm going to miss. Not only that, is my mates, is seeing my mates, is seeing all my mates and that, that you catch up with, they're a part of you. They've been a part of you. And, Facebook and everything's great, but it's not like the same thing as getting out there and riding next to, Colin and like the last few club meetings it's been Colin and his daughter, Adam and Adriana who are married, and me and Dave, like going out and like we've just been having a ball, and so much fun. And, they're the sort of things that I'll miss.
The camaraderie and
absolutely. And
well, you could always plan some joint road trips. Just get a nice big trailer that all of them fit in, and
yeah. Well, that's what we're going to do. So, we've got I've been on to a couple of the guys, and there's no choice. We got to, or we pack it up and call it quits. So, like I said, I'm 55 this year, so time is. I can't be sitting around for 5 years for a venue to open, so I've got to get on with it before I stiffen up, and that's not going to happen yet. So
well, that's it, because when you do stop, it'll make it so much harder to get going again.
Now it will, absolutely. Different when I was younger, but I absolutely understand, now, and I still have the drive and the passion. To still do well and, give everything I can possibly give. So, we're looking at definitely a trip or two to Nepean, probably one at Tamworth or something. We might look at and hopefully a couple up at Maryborough. So we'll sort that out and get our fix for the year, and it's lucky because David will get a little bit more because he's got the speedway side as well with the classics, so they've got a couple more venues up here rather than the dirt track too. It is unfortunate, because there's a lot of facilities that the solos will have no problems going for a ride, but dirt track sidecars, it's just not. Just not out there.
And sidecars, there are tracks that are licensed to run solos. There are tracks that are licensed to run cars. But apparently it's a whole other thing altogether to run sidecars.
Yeah, that's right. It's got something to do with the dirt. But, and years ago, it's funny because we had so many oil tracks, like Gunnedah. Nepean was oil, hard-packed oil. There was quite a few that were oil tracked, and now they use that sort of crusher stuff or whatever it's called. So it's all it's an expense and all that sort of stuff that comes into it. But look, I've had some very fortunate things. People that have helped me to establish. People like Stage Fright, which is a graphic company. And then I've had Lido Trimmers, which did my upholstery.
Very important.
Yes.
Got to be comfortable.
That's right. Twice Trump Garage, which is Wayne Ware. Who else? Kel Earth Moving. And Maz Dog. I also want to give out a very special thank you to a lady called Marion Dugan. She has been absolute by my side in every single way since I got the bike back and sorted out. I just wanted to say a big thank you to her. She's been amazing. So,
there are often diamonds in the rough, and as we say, sponsors and people who are willing to get in. Like I love that throughout your story, there's been so many of those moments where it's like this person shared my vision and was there 110%, and we made it happen. And then, and I think that's a testament to the sport as well. And it's absolutely brilliant. I love it.
Look, and you know, it hasn't always been smooth sailing. I know that you know, it's not what I wanted. You know, I would love 2 categories, but unfortunately you don't. So sometimes, you know, sometimes you have gotten in the way, well, you're not meaning to. There's something in dirt track. If you hear somebody coming that's, you know, faster or bigger than you hold your line and they'll go around you. You know, so there's things like that. You know, where I've had a lot of some criticism, you know, should I be out there and small bike and a post classic in amongst, you know, moderns and all this sort of stuff. But give me another class and I'll be happily in it. But
hallelujah, that is exactly what we are always saying.
Exactly. But unfortunately, I'm not going to give it up just because I have to mingle with everybody else, you know. So I love it. It's in my blood, and it'll always be in my blood until I can't do it anymore. And I'll only ever give up if it's my reaction time is not, I don't think, up there. That's the only sort of thing that, for me, it is, me and David especially, it is, and I said it on my video, it is such a mental outing for us from our everyday. I have a 17, nearly 18-year-old daughter. And David has teenage kids, you know, so, and, you know, we've got to work and we've got to do everything else everyone's got to do. So, it's something that gives us a major outer, and, you know, I just love it. And you know, and I'm so blessed that I've been a part of it with my family and my mum and dad, Neil and Gay Probin. You know, they've given me absolutely a great life, and you know, would I change it? Absolutely not. You know,
do your parents still get along to many race meetings, like, or are they still down here in Sydney, or are they up there with you?
No, we were all in Sydney. Mum and Dad moved up here in 1990, and they just moved to Victor Harbour in South Australia 5 years ago.
Okay, yep.
So they're down in South Australia now, where my brother lives. Basically, cooler environment. They had to get away from the heat up here. Yep. Don't blame them.
Absolutely, yep. I'd be there in a heartbeat.
Yeah. So, look, but they do. And Dad came up. Dave and I flew him up for the Brisbane Cup for the last meeting. You know, his years up here, he was helping out at Gatton Speedway. He was helping out here at North Brisbane before they moved, all sorts of things. And Mum came. But normally what we do now, and this will be the last one for them, Dad is nearly mid-80s, and Mum's, you know, late 70s. But we always come together for that meeting at Nepean for the Classic. So they fly up and we stay with family, and I stay out at the track camping. Depends on how Dad feels. He'll camp with us or he won't. And they come out to the track and spend the day with us and watch me race and everything. So I'm, you know, and of course, because it's been our home track to the whole family, Nepean's very dear to us, and that's why they do it, because they get to see so many of their friends and family and things that we all got to grow up with and be around, and you know, long time. So
that sounds like a really amazing race meeting, and I'll have to get the date for it and the details, and I might have to look at heading down to that one, because I'm only a few hours from Sydney, so why not?
Yeah, and if you like the older bikes, and trust me, some of them are still hooking into it. I can tell you, they are still going. Yeah, people
are so judgmental about the older machines. Like you know, ours is a 1962 Norton Atlas, and you know, put us up against the F2s, like the, the 2010 models. Yeah, we look like we're walking, but we can hold our own on a grid of more similar ones. Like,
yeah,
and they are,
correct.
they're so beautiful because so many of them have been built by by individuals. They're not just manufactured, and you can walk around and you can see the work that goes into them. And I absolutely love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we'll
I
put
mean, I
that one
was
on your
very,
calendar.
that's right. I was very fortunate, when, again, Peter Schumark, on number 5 that I sent you, and his passenger was actually my dad's passenger as well. So, like I said, there's a whole connection. But when Peter, when I was rebuilding this with Peter, there were so many little things, and I was so fortunate
Yeah.
that he got to see it rebuilt. And, and I would be able to call him and say to him, I've got this, blah, blah, blah. I'm done with this. Where did, blah, blah, blah. And, some things he would like, oh, I don't know about that one, slipped his memory, but a lot of things it didn't. And, and him and Bob Northey went on to build the Pacific sidecars, which was a whole big bunch of road racing sidecars back in the 90s, I think it was. Anyway, so very smart men, some of these people, and that I've had, and I've been very, very grateful to be able to get the information from them. And look, to show Peter, his bike, which I think it was the only race bike that there's only one or two, maybe a road race, one of the Pacifics are still around, or one or two, but, to be able to show that to him before he passed, and I was, and, my dad, like he, at the end of the day, he's, the old bloke's been my hero. I've been able to watch him and grow up, and he gave me the bug, so it's all his fault. Mum can blame him all the way.
It's just such a shame that you never actually got to race with him. Like that's
absolutely
that's something really special because my dad is my rider. Like and I grew up watching him race, and it's something pretty cool to be able to go out and do that. But at least your dad is still there with you at the racetrack and has got to be involved.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been amazing. They've both been. When I told them in '87 I'd just been to West Wyland to race for the first time ever, they were like, "Oh no,"
what's been created, what's started now.
Yeah. And poor Mum was just like, "Oh, here we go." So look, it was always going to mean, there's always going to be what it's going to be. But I've been very, very fortunate. I've met a lot of people, so many I could just rattle off. I've been very fortunate, and I love the sport. I just love it.
Why was it so important to you? You mentioned when you first got the Pink Rocket out that you wanted to have a female pairing there, and when you first started, you had a female rider there. Tell me a bit, because as we know, women are pretty underrepresented in motorsport. What's it been like from that perspective?
Yeah, well, way back when I started, as I said, Lisa White, she'd been a passenger for, I think she definitely swung with my father a couple of times. Then there was Barry Mitchell, again, when he was older, when he was doing road racing, which happened to be my dad's first rider. It's all... but Lisa was, a great passenger. Again, to be in the 80s and see these women like, Lynn Judd and Candy Bond and all this sort of stuff. These young girls out there that were on quick bikes. Right up there, with I'm talking pushing firsts and seconds all the time. And just to have that. So when even though I was friends with Lisa, I was sort of like, I wonder if she'll give me a chance. So I just sort of put it out there, and I just sort of said, when I turned 17, will you give me a go? And she said, yeah, all right, okay, I'll give you a go. And, on the side. And I said, okay. So, I looked up to Lisa, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So she was, for me, I thought the world of her. And so the significance thing about why it's pink and all those sorts of stuff is because when Lisa and we had a period of time when we were going through our racing together, that 52 represents her house, actually, at 52 Warpark Avenue, Seven Hills. Right?
She doesn't live there anymore, right? We're not giving her away her address.
No. Nobody lives there anymore that's got anything to do with it. So no. So that particular, that's where the 52 came from. So that was her race number.
Yep.
And it's funny because I never thought when I was getting it back from her, anything different than 52 and put it back. Yes, it's not the same pink. Yes, it's the graphics and everything's a bit different. The upholstery is different pink and black or grey or whatever, but it's the same pattern.
Yeah.
I've done everything pretty much the same, but my tick on it.
Yeah.
But to represent our time together, because it was so important to me.
Yeah.
Starting as a young 17-year-old girl, and then racing against all these people that my dad raced against.
Yeah.
It just all good times, good memories, and it just etched in me. And I suppose we hang on to things, we're creatures like that, and I think we hang on to things that are a good time or whatever in our life. When I was having my friends having issues with boyfriends and everything, I was racing. I
haven't got time for that.
I haven't got time. I got time to go racing, and it was just fantastic. And I think it took me back, and it takes me back, and it gives me a connection with Blacktown, which was my original club. It gives me a connection to all the people I said that have been involved with the building of it and raced it. And then it gives me a connection with my father because my father raced against it. Yeah. And the whole kit and caboodle, I suppose, hence why. But most importantly, I wanted to preserve it how it used to be for this day and age, because I've had so many people come up to me, and especially because it's a Sydney-built bike. They're so different up here in Queensland, how they're built. And I don't even mean the modern ones. I mean the 80s and everything, smaller wheels. I
would not have thought that the states would make such a difference in how they're built.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to have to start looking a little bit closer.
That's right. If you have a look at that picture I sent you, number 77, that is me and Dave on one of Guy Westerman's sidecars, which is a 750 a post-classic. And
right, yeah.
Anyway, it's a 500, but it's built out as 750. I do beg your pardon. But anyway, you have the look at the concept of the difference of that, and it's just a different build. It's all different. So when I brought Pinky out and everything, everyone was like, because it's a New South Wales built bike, it's just different. But I've been up here since 2001 now, so way well over 20 odd years. So would I go back to Sydney? Only for racing. Could I afford it? Probably not to live there. But that's why it was so important to me. I just think the connection to everything that I felt was good in my world, and it was something that was very, very strong to me.
And that is the other part of the older machines, is there is so many memories attached to them. Like, you watch, and I'm sure it happens at dirt track meetings and things like that, every now and then when someone brings a old bike back out and people will come over to it, and then all of a sudden you start getting the lineage of the outfits, and you start getting the stories about, well, I thought this person had it. And it just makes you really appreciate the true history and the connectivity. Like, we keep on talking about how, you know, I guess incestuous and how much crossover there is between the
Yeah.
passengers and the riders and stuff like that. And it's just, it really does paint the big picture of just how connected everything is in, well,
Absolutely.
sidecar racing and motorsport.
Absolutely. And like you said, and the different, you know, it's so-and-so, they've done dirt track and they're also doing speedway, or they're doing this and they're doing road racing, and then they'll, and then some of the outfits, like you said, I mean, you know, how gorgeous is that 888 Vincent one? I think it's a Vincent, that black and, I mean, absolutely gorgeous, outfit. And like you said, these things are not, you can't just buy them. These are from people that have built them, so it's their sweat, their passion, their vision, things that worked, things that didn't work, things that got to be changed, back wheels that need to be moved in because it's tipping or this or that, or, all sorts of things. And just to get it right is, in what, dirt track has always been known as that poor man's sport. But the people that do it and the people who've been involved with it, we don't care. I love it. Absolutely love it. Love getting the dirt on me. Just love the smell. Love everything about it. So,
I think that's absolutely fantastic. You are such a fantastic advocate for the sport, and I was so excited when I saw the video pop up. I think it was Nomad.
Yeah. Culture, Nomad, yep.
Nomad Dirt Culture. Sorry, I'm
Dirt
like,
culture,
if I'm going to do a shout out, I'll make sure I get it right.
Thanks,
spotted
Jocelyn.
her video. Yes,
yeah, Jocelyn.
I've started following her, and I'm like, I absolutely loved when I saw the video. As much as you say, it was a heartbreaking moment because the video that I saw with you in it was from the last race meeting at the track, and I went, nah, there's a bit of character here, and I can tell their story. Let's connect. And I'm so glad that we finally have, and that's really cool. You have not disappointed. It's been amazing.
Thank you very, 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 very much, and thank you for people like yourself that just keep carrying it and getting the stories out there. It's really important, or it'll just fade away. So we've got to keep it together. And I thank you very much for having me, and thanks for having me, guys. And
it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much.
And we'll keep an eye out for you on the track soon, and hopefully you guys get a closer track sooner rather than later. But we'll have to catch up. Sydney, maybe Corinda. We'll see.
Excellent. All right, Jim. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks again to Donna for catching up. It was a fantastic chat. I really enjoyed hearing all of the stories from years gone by and having a chat about some of the unfortunate futures of our sport, like losing tracks like the Mick Doohan Speedway. Please make sure you keep reaching out with the recommendations for people to have on the podcast. Connect me, please, if you've got some suggestions. It's been really fantastic to get some new names in the mix and keep the event details coming so that we can keep on promoting what is happening in sidecar racing across the country. Don't forget to rate, review and subscribe to Aussie Sidecar Stories on Spotify, Apple Podcasts and iHeartRadio, as well as following us on social media.